Okay, this is LD at WaveSage. I'm going to go ahead and start the live stream. And like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. So the market had a pretty big sell-off today, and we're looking for this pullback that happened. And a lot of people online are calling a crash. I had, buy puts now. And that's emotional trading, right? You should have bought puts yesterday, right? Yesterday was the day to buy puts. Buy puts now is what retail traders do that lose most of their money. Professional traders would feast on fear today. I do think you had just a simple three-wave correction. In fact, this could even be a full cycle. Complete it into a massive move higher, which is hard to believe, but given the dollar setup, it's very possible. This is the aggressive view. The more conservative view is it's a 3 and a 4. Okay, it's just 4, 3 or a 4. So, but it should make more highs before I would be concerned. And in fact, some of the best stocks were actually green today and are already bounced. They're already leading the market out of the correction. There's already stocks that had hit and bounced, and they're up here now. So the market is telling you that this was more feast on fear, and then, oh my God, buy puts now. Oh my God, crash. Holy crap, it's the end of the world. That is just retail panic. And so today was a good day to go shopping. So many opportunities to get in on the dip. But why have so much confidence today in the market? Well, the reason for it is the dollar. The dollar had a really interesting move up, where we had this advance and an a B, and then we made a new connector. And the dollar's in a sell area here. So the dollar is going to find a lot of resistance in this area, and if this count plays out, the dollar has this 1-2-1-2. You made a lower low on a connector, so we should get more downside follow through. This will be bullish. This will help the markets. It won't hurt the markets. I don't think the dollar's just going to do that. I just don't think that's going to happen. So that's the calculated bet that I'm looking at. And of course, it got in here and it's finding resistance, but we haven't got an all clear confirmation reversal. The VIX, massive panic today. The VIX had this wedge that we broke out of that. That could be good and bad. Bad because it could lead to something worse, right? It could go. There could be more downside, but good for a bull because now the wedge just widens and it just becomes, it gives you more time. So we don't know which one it is. So I don't really care about the VIX that much. So the dollar's the key. I wouldn't get too worried. There's really, just we should be getting some kind of bounce out of this area, 450, 449, maybe get to even 448 tomorrow morning. But it looks like the dip buyers are coming in tonight already. So there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot out there to buy, and it's really pretty much everything's a buy. Like if you're like, what should I buy? Pretty much everything is good in a pullback for a trade. The question is, what's a better setup? Because like I said, some stocks have already bounced out of their correction, and they were green today. So just keep that in mind. So that should also tell you what's going on. All right, so let's go to your questions. And again, I always go in the order they are. If you want your question answered, I only stay on usually an hour. If you want it answered, super chat, I go right to your question. Okay, Chewy. I saw Chewy's been just kind of really underperforming the rest of the market, and it is though in a buy area still. This is a buy area. I guess if you're patient enough, the setup is there. Now, there's a big gap. Let's look at the daily and see if that gap still exists. Yeah, so you got a big gap here that could reasonably fill and retest this low. you really want to see it hold 29. So I'm not in this trade anymore because given how well the indices and most stocks performed, it was just kind of too much dead money for me. So I had to let it go. But I do think it's still, you're in a three swing area. It could be supported here, but there is this gap and a retest of the low. If the breaks the low, then you have this much bigger connector off of this move, and then it's likely to break 22 and go into lower prices for whatever reason. BBAI, I haven't really looked at that in a while. I have a very small position in it, so small that I could care less. I don't even like watch it anymore, but it is fun to look at. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's bounced. I mean, guys, look at this. I mean, look, literally, I called the low at 175, 174 to the penny, and a rocket ship out. So this is just a wave two out of this downtrend, and it could be done now, but it could also come back to retest this low. So it's tough to say. This could be a shallow connector here, but if the indices are going to rally, this could find support. Now 174 has to hold. That has to hold because now you have a connector wave for this whole move down. So the technical setup is lost if we lose that low. So keep that in mind if you're trading it, but do what's best for you. And good luck with that. Okay, let's see here. AMRC. So you have 3 down, and then you broke the low. So I would, it's in a bearish trend, downtrend. That should continue lower. I would stay away from it on the long side. So this can easily continue the breakdown. It doesn't, based on my system, it's not a good setup. Something like that. Do what's best for you. Okay. Could be a short opportunity. If you can get a nice 3 wave bounce, it could be shorted against 63. So everyone's like, you know, I want to short NASDAQ. I want to short things like this. This is something that has more of a bearish setup than others to me. But do what's best for you on that. Next is LEU. Let's see here. Okay, that looks like the bottom, right? 1, 2, 3. So that's probably impulsive. There's another bottom. Okay, so this is interesting. This is in a good setup, a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. It looks like. Now there you have divergence here. Let's take another look at this low and see what's going on here. So here you have 5 up, so that's good. The question is, are you still in the correction or not? Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I think the correction is done right here, and now you're in kind of these this kind of yeah, I really like it. It goes to show you that energy is bullish, right? This is some energy stock, obviously. And then this looks like 5 up here. What a setup on this. If this is right, this is a massive long opportunity for because you've got so many 1-2s, right? You've got a 1-2, 1-2. So this could be a really good opportunity to the upside. So perhaps energy, whatever this company does, up to $50 real quick. Does it have earnings coming up? Thursday, tomorrow evening. Okay. What do they do specific? Oh, are they uranium? Let's see. Nuclear, uranium. Cool. Yeah, I think this is a good one. I like it. Now this pullback here could still go deeper. So even on earnings, it could still do one of those drops and then rips after, a few days after the call, or they drop it on the news and then after the call it rips, which is that's when they go out on the TV and say this is why you need to watch the earnings call. But really, it's just a technical shakeout. So I do think this is a really interesting area to be buying this stock against $28 because if we can get this set up, if this is right, we should get a pretty quick move up to 50. And then if we can get through this, that should get you up to the all-time high. So do what's best for you. Looks like a really good one potentially for a long position, and we'll see how that plays out. I guess tomorrow afternoon I'll be keeping an eye on it. Okay, so I'll go to the super chats, guys, and then like I said, we'll just jump to that. So TRJ, thanks for that. So I'll go through this Etsy. I thought they dropped on earnings. It's all about where the pivot is, if it's going to double correct or not. But I don't use after hour pricing in my chart, so really it's going to be where does it open tomorrow? Where does it open? I have to find this here. Where is it? There it is. So I thought I saw it come back down into the 80s, right? So if that's the case, it's just like that. So as long as this low holds here, and I don't know, as long as 81.92 holds, but more importantly 80.28, the technical setup is still okay. If we lose those levels, I'll probably dump it and just get rid of it, because then you have this massive move connector, and then you're probably going to break 66, and I don't want to be in it. It's dead. It's a dead chart to me. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it opens tomorrow. And then Coco, let's take a look here at that. Your requested stocks. Oh, that was interesting. It like pumped and then it crashed. All right, so it's just like a 1-2. It's something crazy like that. It's something like that. The other alternative, it's a flat correction, and it's going to go down in two this way. I guess that's probably the more likely scenario, so I'll label it this way. And the target area there would be like 21.55 in this area. It kind of makes sense because it needs to correct this whole advance since November, and this was just too short. So it's probably going to do that. And remember, like we saw with flats, like AEHR, these are just shaking out the weak hands. By making a higher high, the market signaling you are going to be up here at some point. This is just shaking out weak hands and people that don't know what's going on in the market, and they're so confused, and they just lost all their money in their calls because they were chasing calls. Like a lot of people chase calls on AMD the other day, not knowing what that was doing. That's why having knowledge of what's going on gives you so much power to not FOMO, and to not fold here. You just know what's happening, but don't be surprised if it goes lower. this flat. D bros, let's see here. Is that right? Did I get that right? I'll let you tell me if that's the right one or not because nothing else came up. Sim, yeah, I bought that today. Whoever, someone asked about this a while ago, and it's been on here, and I just want to make sure, but so my chart on Sim is a 1-2-1-2, and now we have another one, and we're in this two wave. So just like Wingstop, the way I would play this is get in here, right? Get in at 53 like I did, and then if it decides to drop again, just buy more of it because it's very bullish. It's going to be supported. You're just going to have to hold. So you could see a dip to 50. That's not likely. I'll tell you, I don't think it's likely. Look, it closed green. Like I said, some of the strongest stocks closed green off its low. So that tells you something where the market may be heading. But if it does decide to take another swing down, this is the area. But I think the dip is already over and it should start to go higher still. I would expect to see $80, $90 in this at some point. And then EE, let's see, EE. We haven't ever looked at this one. Or maybe we have. It's been a while. Okay, so we had this ABC. It looks like I labeled the 5. It looks like that was a perfect label, and now we're out of the correction. This looks like a 1-2-1-2 coming out, energy. So again, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but it seems like energy is really bullish. Bohr Energy broke its high recently, but it's pulling back. So energy looks like it's got another some power that's going to take it to higher here. So I'm looking for something like that at this point. Yeah, I mean, let's go to the weekly. Oh, it's hard to see that. Let's go back again. I wasn't looking at it right. Yeah, I'll just call it 1-2-1-2 for now. Okay, then toast. All right, we have that here. We've already looked at that. Okay, so we called the 2 here. It looks like that was the right call. We broke the high, so we're in another 1-2-1-2. This is looks like an impulse. So it looks like something like that. Let's just take another look at it real quick. Yeah, it's good. It's still okay. The weekly cycle's good. So you want to keep an eye on the weekly cycle. So it's still good. This is still a bullish count, just like I have it now. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go lower though, because I don't think it's a flat, but because this looks like 5 up, it looks like it needs more downside, maybe to 18. I don't think it's going to come back to retest the low, but it very well may. So again, it has earnings. Be careful of a dump in earnings on this, but it could be a buy-in opportunity against 16 in the 1-2-1-2 setup coming out of the correction. Let's see, SRAD. Again, higher high, and you're out of the downtrend. Something like this. No, I don't like that. I don't even like this. I think it's too bullish, but I mean, you could call the 1-2-1-2. But you see the RSI reset there, but see you don't see it here. you have a little bit of a reset right there on the RSI, but not enough. Uh, Not enough for me. So I don't know. I think this count's really tricky, but it looks like something like this to me, and it should continue higher to let this all play out. And then Genie, G-E-N-E, Genie. So Genie, three waves, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is some kind of flat, it seems like to me. Uh, yeah, that's the low. So we're coming off of the correction. We hit our wave. This is the wave 3, right? That's our wave 3 out of the correction. Something like that. So this, just be conservative. I'll just label it this way. So it should have a 4 and a 5. Uh, I would expect a 5 because this is a pretty good extension. I don't think this is a corrective move, but you can't rule it out. So you still need to be cautious. But I think more than likely you'll get the 4 and the 5 here. Uh, Shorter time frame. This is kind of the buy area. This could be the low right there at 718, but if it does want to drop again, 702, 680 would be the next area to buy in this area for 5. All right, and I think that's it. Thanks again, and we'll keep going. So I've got another one from Donald Gibson, Boyle and Bowen. Yeah, natural gas is just tough, man. That's why I don't recommend trading it. It's more of just a long-term hold for unleveraged accounts, but I know everyone loves trading it. So I said if we broke this low, it would take a double swing down to retest this low. So that's what it's doing here. That's what Boyle's doing. I personally, I will be buying it here if it gets to 48. I would not buy it today. It was tempting to just say screw it and buy it, but I'm going to be disciplined and wait. But if it does break 45, then the technical setup's lost, and I wouldn't recommend selling it until a new setup emerges. If that were to break, just to give you an idea where we could go with it, it could take it to 37.61, this area. But could that happen? Anything's possible, so do what's best for you. But if the dollar is going to weaken, oil should go up, and if oil goes up, natural gas should rise with commodities. So that should happen, and that should bring this higher. But as you know, we were in this corrective sequence, but we did break it, and you need typically a 3-wave move, and you have it, but I think it should go a little deeper. I think it's too shallow still, a little deeper. Okay, so and then Bowen, if I can find it here. All right, so Bowen broke out. Here we're in this wave 5, and we're in a 1, 2. Something like that. What you want to see, if you're a bull, you want to see that divergence erased. You weren't able to do that, unfortunately. The daily you weren't. So if you can erase that divergence, then it's a 1, 2, 1, 2. It may not make it all the way to 300, but it should continue higher. Just be careful. But sometimes you see these consolidations in 4, and you get a quick high, and then it just kind of crashes back down. Like in this case, will be like to 180, and then that would be your 5 here. But I don't I don't see it. I mean, you could always force a count for 5 waves off this low, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I could force it, or maybe I could do an A, B, C for 1, an A, B, C for 3. So I could like, and that's probably a better something like that. So I'd be careful with Boeing until that divergence is erased, because this could be an end in diagonal finishing up here, and then it revert loses all of that, and then it could be a 1-2 or an A B. Okay, so thanks again, Donald. So I'm just trying to keep up with the super chats. So again, I'll go to Anonymous for 6. Litecoin, do you see it falling below 81? So Litecoin is corrected with Bitcoin, as we know. And the thing about it is, uh, if I look at the count right now, you have a wave down, a connector, and now a lower low. And the warning was if you broke that, it's likely to come back to this trend line. So do I see it break in 81? It looks likely to do that. And Bitcoin looks likely to continue lower in whatever you want to call this kind of wedge-like pattern. Will continue. Maybe Bitcoin gets to 28,000. But I want to be careful, guys. Crypto is bullish. This is just a game that whales are playing with each other. And the dollar, once the dollar starts selling off, it's going to be a major headwind against short sellers in crypto. You know, so keep an eye on the dollar. So Litecoin, could easily go lower to where I have, to down to 77. But once the dollar decides to dump, Litecoin's going to rip higher with everything. So short in here is very dangerous game right now, in my opinion. Very dangerous to try to short that. And as you can see, the divergence is erased there. We don't see it on the 4-hour yet. So then all signs point to lower in the shortest cycles. But are you going to be quick enough to flip it? Because I'll tell you that computers and algos are going to beat you to the punch. It could easily wick and then reverse out before you can even click your buttons on your computer to finish up this correction. Yeah, Bitcoin. So to me, it seems like crypto needs a little bit more downside, a little more downside to come. Yeah, and what happened? This is a new connector. So crypto is it's just extending lower in a more complex correction down. So just keep that in mind if you're trading it. And then what was your other one? Bitcoin, BCG. BCG is, let's see here. It's still in the buy area. It's still in this really tight wedge. Again, I can't draw it that perfect, but something like that. So it's just patience. And I know a lot of people get impatient, but you're gonna have to have it if you want to trade this. But at any moment, you're gonna get a candle that looks like that. At any moment, and it's just, and that's it. So I don't know. I wish I could tell the future, but the setup looks really good here, right? It looks really good. But do what's best for you. Thanks for the 6, man. Okay, let's go back to the other super chats I need to get to. BROS, bros, for TRJN, bros. Let's take a look here. All right, so we kind of had that one right here, like that. Okay, so we'll be conservative and call that the cycle here. Yeah, looking at it again, I'm going to go back to the 1 2 1 2. This could be a lot of things. It could be a 1 2 1 2. It could still be 2. It could also, we could even have a 1 2 3 4 5 and then down. There's too many possibilities to know for sure. Let's look at just chart pattern in general and see if there's any chart pattern clues. So you broke down out of that, then out of this downtrend line. Here I could touch all the points there. There we go. So my guess is whatever this is, this mass, it's gonna it's this downtrend is over and it's now rallying out of it. But short-term trading, it's really tough here because it could easily go back down to 27 and then out. It's tough. It's a real tough setup. But more than likely the downtrend is over now. Celsius, and let's see what that one is, how that's going. I forgot to look at that today to see how much it went down. Okay. All right, there we go. So it's in our buy area. So hit the buy area today. So if you've been waiting to get back in it, this could be your opportunity to do that. But do what's best for you. And you're like, is it deep enough? Well, you're hitting the wave 4 cluster here, so that's always good. It's just was shallow because it's so bullish. There is always a chance it could come to 122, but it more than likely is going to bounce first. It'll do something like this if it's going to go to 122. But again, I'm not a future fortune teller. I can't tell you if it's going to do this, but it should bounce here, and this is an area to pick up some shares if you missed out on that move. Looking at coming out of this in a 1-2. So you have a 1-2 and another 1-2. If we do pull back and come back to 124, then it would be looking at a 1 2 3 4 5. So we'll see if it's the more bullish count or not, depending on how we bounce out of this. GDX, GDX to me is more of an investment. Long-term investors should just hold that and not really look at it. And I think you'll be very happy, in 3 to 5 years. But if you are trading it, as long as 2880 holds, so it could still be a 1-2 1-2. Right, this is the more bullish view, especially if the dollar's about to dump. The other option is we break that low, and then we head down to this lower area at 2556 for a deeper wave 2. So no one knows. Again, I'm hoping that we stay supported. We stay supported here. You have 3 waves, so I've got my fingers crossed. Well, we get this bounce. Surprise people. So anyway, thanks for that. And Anonymous, again, thanks for the 5. Riot price, if grinds down to 20K. They kind of trade it. They don't trade like tick for tick. A lot of times these stocks lead Bitcoin out of the correction. They don't lag it. They tend to bounce first, what I've noticed. But let's take a look. All right, so that was our buy area for wave 4. It looks like we almost tagged it here. What a mess. So if Bitcoin is going to take another leg lower, Riot more than likely should take another leg too, right? Again, it won't be tick for tick, but it should drop. But if you look, it just seems too far, right? So what if Riot's already bottomed? Again, it leads Bitcoin out, and then this is some kind of 1, 2, let's see here if I can do this right. let's see here. We have, let's look at this structure one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 up here. Let's look at the 15-minute. It's real close. It's a coin flip if there's divergence. I call that divergence there. So if this is right, then that's a low, and then you have this this kind of corrective mess here that could be so many things, right? This could, this here could be, like an A and a B and a C, right? So my guess is Riot will not break 1682. My intuition says, yes, it could come back and retest that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that low holds and it just continues higher from here. So do what's best for you. I think this, for Riot, if Riot is going to do this, Bitcoin will be going well below 28. Bitcoin would have to go back to like 22,000 to get Riot to dump this far down. Because then you would be talking another 1-2, 1-2, and not a 3-4 anymore. I mean, you could still do that, I guess. So I don't know. I would say just if I was holding Riot, I would just hold through this correction. Okay, so let's see. I think I've got all the super chats that people answered. And again, I appreciate it. If you don't get your question answered, just super chat. But I usually get off after an hour. Okay, so let's go back to where we left off. So I don't know if we covered LEU. I'll go back to requested stocks here. I don't remember. Oh yeah, we covered that already. EXAI. So I imagine that's some kind of AI stock. EXAI. All right, so you've come out of a downtrend, right? So more than likely that advance is over, is done. I mean, that decline is done. And now you're coming off the bottom in a 1-2, and now you're that looks like an impulse out of there too. In a 1-2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see that. Yeah, you got the divergence. So again, bullish chart. That low at 545 should hold. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up there. Yep. So my guess right now, I would label it this way. Could have a big explosive move higher come in. You got earnings coming up. Could be a catalyst. If we do break this low here at 727, then it's just a flat in 2. And then that will be, again, just a shakeout down to 685. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's tough to say if you're going to get the flat or not at this point, but it's possible. But you see that daily hammer? So people are buying it. What does this company do? AI, machine learning. All right, let's add that to the list. We saw how SYM that reacted out of earnings. So we'll add that to the earnings play. And we'll see if we get that nice move out of here on wave 3 of 3 and really get this thing going off earnings. But earnings isn't, it looks like it's you got to next week or a couple weeks. Okay, next is Unity and Etsy. I already gave Etsy's update, so Unity, did their earnings come out yet? Or yeah, they already had their earnings. Yeah, it looks like tonight. I don't know how they reacted tonight. Someone can post. I had them drop into 39.54 with the double correction, and then should be coming out of here. I'll be interested to see what they did on earnings, but I don't have that information in front of me. So, but this is what I'm looking for now. A 1-2-1. You know, there was a chance it could have been a 1-2-1-2, but with the sell-off here, it just created a bigger connector down. All right. Let's see. Let's take a look if there's anything after that here. STNG. All right, so that was our buy, and it hit it, and it reacted. So, I mean, I'm willing to tell you it's probably the bottom's in this. But let's take a look at the bigger picture. It held the low, so it's a 1-2-1-2 count. Something like that. And a flat. Yeah, actually the buy area was 39.82. And missed it by a few cents there, but it looks like I would be looking for new highs in wave 3 off this low. Okay, and MED, Medfast. This could be a 1-2-1-2 on a super cycle degree. It looks like that's the case. I don't like that divergence there, but it could be a flat. Let's look at the monthly. Erased it, and erased it. Corrected the whole cycle. So this could be actually a massive run-in flat on the grand super cycle scale. Let's look and see. Yeah, so this is a very rare, I think a rare pattern, but it looks like a run-in flat on the grand super cycle degree. Now the question is C done? But it looks like it is to me with that bounce. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's done. All right, so it's coming off of this low, and it looks like to me it 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. So some kind of 1-2, probably something like that. Although the whole cycle's done here. So like that, there's your connector. It probably is going to drop again. The 91.61 in this area, and then out. All right, do what's best for you on that, Med. SU. Let's see, SU. Okay. Suncor Energy. What a mess. It looks like the oil chart. It looks almost like a yeah, I mean, I look at it here. That's the third wave area in this cluster. So extended fifth looks too shallow to me. I think it's going to break 26. looking for like 21, and that's the wave 4, right? That hits the wave 4 area, somewhere around there. The only thing I don't like is if it does that, that means energy is probably going to be under pressure in the short term unless it has some company specific problem. The other option is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and yeah, I don't like it. I think to me it looks like it's heading lower, and maybe there's some company specific issue that's going to come out for some reason. But that's what it looks like. But it's definitely a long-term investment hold with much higher prices the years to come. But for now, shorter, it just seems like it wants to drop here. Yeah, I see. What's also interesting is that weekly cycle is breaking higher here. See, it broke higher. Very tricky chart. This is really tough. You know, given where I think the dollar is headed and everything, I'm gonna take a different call on it, and I'm gonna say it's something a little more bullish. I think it's gonna do this based on the weekly cycle breaking higher and surprise a lot of folks. You could see you're breaking out. I think it's gonna go higher. That's a really tough chart to trade there, though. All right, let's keep going. SOXS. Okay, so SOXL. I'm been charting that, which is the opposite. So I'll show that first, and then so SOXL. This is what happened to AMD guys that got blown up because traders don't look at the whole thing. We hit that wave 5 peak the other day. So that was the warning that AMD just cannot get supported. Like, there's no way this AMD could run with the levered bull fund basically out of gas. I expect this to drop to $21, but then be a really good dip buy opportunity. Because as you know, 5 waves up means we have another 5 waves to go in a 3-wave corrective structure. So this is going to be a dip buy, but I think this is going to have to play out more to the downside, which means to the upside on SOXL. Now, there is going to be a connector wave, and I do think that's trying to develop here. I don't think it's a straight down crash correction. I could always be wrong, but it looks like to me we should bounce and fail again. That's what I'm thinking we're going to see develop here. So something like that. The other way to time SOXS when to get out of that trade is if you go to AMD and trade it. Like I've been showing AMD, I've been showing this chart, guys, that this was a B. When AMD hits 96, I would definitely get out of SOXS. So I think AMD is heading down to 96. It may even tag this long-term trend line at 91 even. But so to me SOXS is bullish, but until this level's hit. So now I'll go to the SOXS chart itself, and we could take a look at it. So yeah, long term, the problem with it is it erased divergence on the downside. So we have the 1, 2. Now this was a 3, 4, 5, but we've erased divergence. So now it's extending, bearish extension. But as you know, we could still be in 2, which I think we are. So this is probably some corrective structure that hasn't finished yet, to me. The other alternative is, and again, this is more. We could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we could pull back a little deeper here. Something like that. But as you can see, there's not a lot of upside, right? Remember the days when it was all the way up here? Yeah, it just is not semiconductors is weak. So I do think it's going to do something like that, but I would watch AMD. When AMD hits the buy area, that's the time to get rid of this thing. Is my thinking. All right, XPEV. Yeah, China pulled back and made instead of a 3-4 1-2-1-2 today, and we had this in the wave 5, and wave 5 obviously is finished. So it should come back to the wave 4 low at 13. So it's another extended fifth wave. It should bounce, but I'm thinking the bounce will fail. So do something like this. So it should bounce here at 17.14, tradable bounce. Now, I mean, there is a chance that could finish the correction. There's no guarantee the bounce will fail. So I do want to mention that, but it could do that. But it also could keep going and bounce and fail one more time. So we'll just leave it at that for now. And yeah, this daily cycle's got a long way to, well, not a long way, but it's got a ways to go in the forward. So we'll see how it goes. Now, let's look at the daily. So we could also not be as aggressive too. It could also do something like this. Put the 3 here, the 4 here, and the 5 there. So that's also possible. But do what's best for you. Let's take a look at the bigger picture. I want to see it come up to 33 and then pull back. So I'm thinking something like that. You know, we'll see. And again, it could be still 1-2-1-2 and come out. But it does look like more downside should happen here. And then you got this gap. So it can even go lower. Okay, I'll be wrapping up in about 5 minutes. So if you didn't get your question answered against Super Chat, I'll go right to it before I cut out here. In ZTS. ZTS. Zoetis. Okay, we have that already on here. All right, so we called the 1-2 low. It looks like a wave 4. At this point, it looks like a wave 4. But we broke the cycle, so it could be a flat. It probably is a flat. Because really, it looks like 3 waves. We didn't really break the high. I don't see a 4 and a 5. So I'll be really careful with the flat correction here. Does it have earnings coming up? Yeah. So just be really careful in it. You could get a flat and come back to 158. But just so you know, it's a buy. But you're going to have to, like, again, AEHR was a great example of a flat because we traded that essentially in real time as you guys were asking me for updates here, right? We saw AEHR do the same thing, right? It broke out, the CFO quit, and a lot of people on my stream here was like, I had to get rid of it. I'm stopped out. I don't want it. I was like, it's a flat, guys. Just be patient, and it'll rip out of this buy area. And literally to the penny, it essentially V-bottomed out, and it's still going, just like we have here, right? I might as well do this while I have it open. Now it's almost finished, unless it erased divergence. It hasn't. Then there'll be a massive correction after that because it'll be correcting the whole thing. So we've been trading AEHR since down here, and we've really nailed this pretty well. So these flats are tricky. They're designed to cause you to panic and get rid of it, and then chase it up here when you go, oh crap, I dumped it. Why did I do that? I'm so stupid. So just know what the market's trying to do. So I think that Zoetis is doing setting up for something like you're seeing here. But again, I can be wrong. Okay, so then let's see, charge point, CHPT. Let's take a look at that. Okay, I would just move the 2 down. As long as 717 holds. Look at this wedge kind of pattern. It wants to come out so bad. It wants to come back to 19 so bad, and I believe it will. I think it's just trying to finish this up. Again, drive your patience. So I think it's a good trade as long as 717 holds. If that doesn't hold, then it's a 1-2, and then we are going to come into this lower area I have here. Let's take a look at the RSI. See, it's breaking out. It's running. The correction, basically the corrections run out of time. Like the price, sure, it can go lower, but corrections happen in time and price. And if it's a really deep price but short time, the correction can end, or the correction can end with not that deep of a price but a long time. And this is just out of time. It should have went lower, but it's just out of time. I think there's no more sellers really left to sell. Everybody that sold this has probably already sold it. Only the strongest hands probably are left in this company. You know, the founders, whatever, true believers. That's all that's probably left holding this company stock right now. Okay, so I'll just scan through these and see if there's anything that interests me. If you didn't get my question answered, just again super chat and I'll go right to it. Prasanna, from the beginning, gold. Okay, I gave the gold up. Oh, so I still support you from the beginning. Gold and oil update. Please link coin. Okay, gold I gave earlier. I thought I did. Let me, because I have that. I'll just click on that real quick. Gold. Um, is just again, it's in a 1-2-3 connector. It could still go a little lower than 1927, but it's an impulse off the low. It should come out of this. We should be talking 2,000 gold later this year. So this is, and it may already be bottomed here. It may be a buy right now, with the dollar ready to dump at any moment. And then I'll look at Linkcoin in a minute because I'm actually interested in that. I hadn't looked at that in a minute. Oil is still in the bullish cycle. It's just pulling back and forth. So oil still almost upside. I think it's getting to 100. I think it'll come out to 100, but it's it's not a straight line up. But I think it's in this 4 wave. Could bottom at any moment, especially if the dollar's going to go down. And then Linkcoin. If you followed me from the beginning, you should be pretty happy because I called the start of the correction in 22. The Santa rally, that was to be your last chance to get out of the market. And now, I did call the melt up earlier at the bottoms, about a month after the bottom, and I got a lot of hate mail for that. And then I got sold a little too early, but then got back in long a little bit after March and been long since. But there, so if you follow me, we've pretty much navigated it well, except for selling a little too early on the melt up. But it was just so much profit so quickly, it just didn't seem like it could continue, but it did continue. But on a pullback like a day like this week, I was able to get back in on the long side on a lot of things. So yeah, Link looks like it's heading to 698 here and off this low. So this is an area of accumulation here. And it will just drive you, it's just going to test your patience, right? It's just going to do everything it can to get you to give up on it. But then one day you'll wake up, it'll be pumping, you won't know why. But it looks like it does need to go to $7, and that'll be a good buy opportunity. All right, I'll just kind of scanning through things and see. Like I said, if I didn't get your question answered, super chat, I'll go right to it. Um, YNN should be going higher again. 1-2, 1-2s, a lot of those. Just trying to get you to give up on it, to get you to dump it before, so someone else can take your future profit. I still think that's a good buy. Roku and Zoom. Okay, Roku is to me already pumped out. Zoom isn't. So Zoom could be the short squeeze setup, in my opinion. And we've been watching that Zoom. Let me show you. But again, I hadn't looked at Zoom in a while. I don't like I can't trade every ticker personally, but let me see if I can find the stay-at-home stock Zoom here. All right, so I was warning about this wave 4 here. If Zoom can make it to 58, 56, that could be a really great short squeeze moment. That's like an ideal setup. What I do want to say with Zoom is you're starting to pressure coming out, and I can easily, change the counts around to put that to low. So Zoom should be retracing some of that move down, right? It should be coming back. So yes, it's going to short squeeze soon, but when, tough to say, or we would make a lot of money. If it's a perfect world, it will come down here and then rip out of that in reverse. But again, if I get earnings or something and it's up here, I wouldn't be surprised that this just starts going up. So it's tough to say on Zoom, but do what's best for you. But I'm not touching it at the moment. And I guess here's our Roku. Yeah, Roku is you got to say the bottom's in on that because it's extended in a third wave. So so this one hit a major low. Again, this was our buy area, hit a major low, and now it's extending. Probably come back to 140. 140. So just got to be patient with it. Okay, so I'm ending my live stream, guys. Hope you have a good day of trading. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, it's going to be choppy. It's going to be a lot of whipsaw action. But as long as the dollar doesn't continue higher, this is good. If it starts to drop, it's going to be a major headwind for sellers of stocks. And it will eventually the bulls will win the arm wrestling contest. Even if we get some short-term downside to finish up, like on the futures here, you got the Nasdaq that still needs to go lower. The ES is in the buy area now. The Dow looks like it hit it already and wicked out. Could be already done, but still didn't really quite make it. So so this is tough here. Could still drop to 35 too. But again, the Dow keeps testing this support area. Resistance is now support. It just can't get back below 35 too. It's trying. It wants to get, but it can't. It's tried like 4 times. It can't get under there. And then the Russell, some kind of flat, and that could go. So maybe some more short-term downside, and then a reversal at any moment. And then here's your China 1-2, 1-2. So good luck.